So this file is going to take us through the different kinds of angles that are formed by parallel lines and just getting used to looking for these angles and figuring out remembering what is true about their measurements so that we can create equations once we have identified which equations they are correctly there. So first of all, parallel lines, two lines that remain a constant distance apart, they don't intersect. They've got this symbol right here, which looks like the two L's in the word parallel. Super important so that we can recognize that. There's four kinds of angles that exist in the lines up here that we have to know where they are. So they are alternate interior angles, which are inside the lines on opposite sides of the transversal. That's the line that crosses through them. All right. They're alternate exterior, which are outside the parallel lines on opposite sides of the transversal. Consecutive interior, which are inside the parallel lines on the same side of the transversal. And then there are corresponding angles. Those are the ones that line up, all right, meaning that if you put one on top of the other, that's what you get. All right, so we'll go back into the picture here, and I'm going to walk through each one of them. So the first one was alternate interior. An alternate interior are inside the parallel lines on opposite sides of the transversal. So as an example, 3 and 6. Alternate interior always make some sort of a Z shape. It could be backwards, it could be upside down, it could be on its side, it kind of looks like an N. So they make that kind of a Z shape, and they're always in the corners of the Z. So I'm going to go down to the alternate interior here for a second. I'm going to write down that they always make a Z shape, and they're always in the corners of the Z. Right, whenever you identify alternate interior angles, they always have to be equal to each other. Right, so we can use that when we're making our equations. So there's alternate interior. Alternate exterior angles, for example, 1 and 8. They are on the outside of the parallel lines on opposite sides of the transversal. So outside the parallel lines, opposite sides of the transversal, 1 and 8 is an example. If I scroll down, it says that these angles are also always equal. So alternate interior, alternate exterior, very similar in what they are and how they're described, and they're both equal. The next ones down there are called consecutive interior. So consecutive interior angles are both inside the parallel lines, and then this time they're on the same side of the transversal, so such as 3 and 5. All right, inside the parallel lines on the same side of the transversal. These ones, if you look at them, so you have that angle and that angle, those do not look equal to each other. They're not open the same amount. So if you go down and look at what it says down here, it says that these are always supplementary, which means they add up to 180. So these are kind of the oddball of these four angles because they're the ones that do not get set equal to each other. The last kind of angles out of the four were corresponding. All right, corresponding are the angles that kind of line up. So they would be, for example, angle 1 and angle 5. All right, and that's where a lot of people remember it like this. If I took this circle and I placed it on top of this circle, the 1 and the 5 would line up. They'd be in the same spot. All right, so that's what corresponding means. And if I scroll back down there for a second, all right, the corresponding angles are also equal. So I have four kinds of angles here. If I zoom out, I probably maybe can get them all on the same screen. All right, I have alternate interior angles, which are always equal. I have alternate exterior angles, which are always equal. I have consecutive interior, which are always supplementary. And I have corresponding, which are always equal. All right, so what I'm going to need to do first is I have to recognize when these angles are happening in the picture. All right, so when do I have them? And then the second part is, can I remember what's true about them so that then I can use it to make some sort of an equation. So as you go through here, all of these questions are just identifying the names and writing down the relationship continually over and over and over again to try to get this to stick in your head as much as possible so that when it comes time to take an assessment, you're able to identify these and then use them.